So there are two extremes, right? Hands on and hands off. No extreme seems to be good. How do we create the right balance?
As a leader, sometimes it's it's inevitable that you might have to be hands-on, right? So there is a difference. There is micromanagement and there is macromanagement. You have to give your team a chance for them to be able to, do the job. In certain situations, upon the call of duty or depending on the demand of the situation, you might have to roll up your sleeves and basically get your hands dirty, and it's okay sometimes. But but I think it's very important that you trust your team, you give them a chance, that they are doing things on their own. But I think if there could be situations where you have to roll up your sleeves and get down and get your hands dirty, be one among the team members, contribute to the team. That could be because your team is stuck. All right, you might have to then get down and then to the situation and then help them to get for them to get over the hump. Sometimes they need additional bandwidth. It all depends. But I think it's always important that first, right, the team is given a chance, and if the situation calls, you might have to get your hands dirty and lead by example. Right, that's where leading by example, managing by example comes into the play, where you might have to actually be one of the team members and perform that. So I think both are important, but I think they're both situational. But I think the default is hands off.
So being a new manager, we have a lot of pressure to perform, right? Mm-hmm. How do we not overdo during that period?
See, anybody, it doesn't have to be a new manager. Everybody has pressure to perform. Actually, as you grow, the pressure would be, or the expectation would be even more, right? But I think you have to take these challenges as it comes, because the manager or a leader should never think that is their last opportunity. Right. So it's very important not to kind of overdo it and then maybe also impact the team that's working on it. I think it needs to be, every situation needs to be looked at from its own merits and demerits and from its own perspective. And I think, of course, and everything should be taken seriously as if it is your first job or anything like that. But I think just have to remember that is not the end of it or the last opportunity. Right. And it's okay sometimes if you fail. It's okay. I think if you give your 100% and work really hard, not always all projects or not always all efforts are successful. It's okay. I think, I'm sure there will be a certain amount of learnings, and you can incorporate those learnings into your future projects, and then make sure that you don't repeat those mistakes or whatever happened. But trust me, not everything will be successful. There will be certain amount of failures. I had my own ups and downs. I had my own failures. And I've seen people, greatest of the greatest leaders who I actually looked at and admired, did fail in a lot of situations. So it's okay to fail and accept if we do fail, and learn from it and move on.
How was your experience when you first managed people?
It was curious when I wanted to become a manager, right? Obviously, I had a certain goal. I wanted to become a manager and then grow from there. But during the initial phases of anybody's career, and so was my career, where I had my own set of mentors, either directly, where I had an official mentor, or I learned a lot by watching my own managers or certain leaders that you kind of look up to in the early part of your career when you're working. So that actually helped me quite a bit. So it's very important, any aspirant who wants to become a manager, I think it's very important to listen, watch and learn from whoever it is, right? It doesn't have to be your own manager. Sometimes it can be your own manager who you're working for, but sometimes it can be other people around you in the organization, or people in your partner organizations that you work on a daily basis. So it's very important to kind of actually have a someone that you look up to or multiple people, and kind of learn from those experiences that you're watching on a daily basis, and incorporate that, some of that, into your style. Everybody has his or her own style, but it's you could incorporate some of those learnings. So it's very important, right? So coming to my experience, as I said, right, obviously it's nervous for anyone when you become, but I think it's very important that you are confident about what you're going to do, what your responsibilities are. There are two key things, right? One is, when you're becoming a manager, you need to be respected by your own team, which means that you should play the role of a mentor for your own team, where you lead by example, because there could be certain situations on a daily basis where you would want to display it to your team, like for example a mission critical issue that you're resolving for a customer, and you need to perform under pressure, right? And the manager, as a manager, you need to display certain attributes that actually the team can look up to, and that plays a critical role in basically driving that issue to a success or a resolution. So it's very important that you become a kind of a role model, or you play a role model for your team on a day-to-day basis, both in terms of general leadership qualities, but also in terms of the content expertise, the domain knowledge. Unless and until, as a manager, you have the domain knowledge, it's very difficult to gauge or coach your own team. So these are some of the things, right? I mean, in the early stage of my career as well, I had certain mentors. I had people who I looked up to in the organization and learned quite a bit, and tried to incorporate some of those styles into my management style. And also, I have my own style as well, so which kind of evolved over a period of time.